I thought it was so romantic. He got down on both knees, and he said,
"Oh, you got down on both knees?"
He was like,
I figured one was not enough.
Well, he said the
I had to
one
go to
was
the
giving
full-
way. I had
to go to the full begging position, you know, and
Wow. You look young in that clip.
10 years later, because you're creeping up on your 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah, we are.
What is the secret to making this thing work?
Oh gosh.
Gosh.
Wish we knew.
We're still figuring it out.
I think the good part is it doesn't feel like 10 years, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that was just yesterday that we were planning our wedding and doing the special and the whole thing, and then
We talk
obviously
about
with 3 kids, it kind of just flies by, you know?
it does.
Yeah.
And we have talked about that because people ask, they're like, what is the secret? What is the secret? We don't truly, and I don't mean this in any, we just don't know what the secret would be, but we know what works for us. And what works for us is communication and establishing that line of trust, that line of communication, being vulnerable, but also being open, understanding the other person, having the empathy, and just literally putting it all on the line, so to speak. And we started with that, and then we've built on that. And at this point, I know he's not a mind reader. They always say, guys aren't mind readers. So you got to tell him what's up. And I'm like, this is why I'm upset today.
Well, plus we're both Scorpios, right? So
Right.
we're
She's
competitive.
never held anything back in her life. She will not.
But we're also very competitive, so we're just too competitive to quit. Nobody wants to quit.
I just speak my mind, and I really try my hardest never to be disrespectful. I always want to just be true to who I am and speak my mind. And with Nick, he's always said, he's like, that is so refreshing because I know what you're feeling, I know what you're thinking, I know you will stand up for me, for our kids, for our family, for anything. And I'm like, yeah, I will.
Yeah, you will. Yes, she will.
And my girlfriends.
You also told the greatest story about how you really first started dating.
E.T. was at the center of it. Yeah, it was like
It was like the twist of when we were like, because we knew each other for a while before, we were both in previous relationships, and then it was an Entertainment Tonight like caveat that made it go from friendship to romance.
I was in New York for a party. I remember Rosario Dawson was there, and there was the red carpet, and E.T. was turning 25.
Entertainment Tonight was turning 20.
So they had a list of other celebrities who were also turning 25 that year. And they said, would you want to scan the list and wish any of the celebs a happy birthday? So I'm looking down the list, and I see, oh, November 9th, who has my birthday? I look over, it's Vanessa Minnello. I said, oh, really? Oh.
So then later that night, he went to, it was a club in New York called Home, and our mutual friend, his name is Greg, was there. He also helped get me my first cover, which was Maxim magazine. And he's like, come by the club, I want to see, give me some photos. And we had like, you know, we did a cool theme for MTV, shouting out MTV. So I'm literally Maxim Polaroids in hand. Nick Lachey is there, and he's like, I just heard it was your birthday. I'm like, oh, what's that? These Maxim magazine photos? So
Needless to say, I was intrigued.
it was the first time that we both were, because like I said, we'd known each other. It was the first time that something different, like,
It
just
kind of
sparked.
something
Yeah.
clicked.
Yeah,
You felt something.
obviously we were still being mutually respectful, but that was the first time I was like, that's interesting. I never knew he had the same birthday as me, and I never thought I cared, but I did. I mean, who doesn't want to share their birthday? It's cool.
Yeah, it's been cool.
And then what people may not know or may not remember is you were an ET correspondent. This was your home, so really you've come back
You
home.
were my buddy.
Yes, yes. You all don't understand.
Aw.
And Nick used to
Look at
come in,
Face
Oh, my
Vanessa Minnello.
God.
Look at her.
and you used to
Yeah.
bring her coffee and hang out in the makeup
I'm still
room.
bringing her coffee.
Oh, well, of course.
15 years later, I'm still bringing
You
coffee.
did? Oh, I remember, and it was so funny because he used to come. I was doing MTV, TRL, and Entertainment Tonight,
Yes.
and he'd come by, and I was like, Kevin, we do not talk about this. And he's like, but I'm like, and he goes, I got you, girl. I got you. It was one of those things that I was like, for the love of God, give me this relationship. Let it pan out the way that it's
Right.
going to pan out without Entertainment Tonight or anybody else talking about it. And you always had my back. E.T. always had my back.
Yeah,
So
no, it was
thank
wild. So Nick would be around the set hanging out, and we'd just be like, oh, yeah, Nick's here. Nick is here. What do you remember about your days on ET?
Gosh, I remember always being, honestly, some of the best moments were through Entertainment Tonight. While TRL was always so fun, we had the Times Square studio, people would come in and out. I got to go to the Mandarin Oriental, sit at a baby grand piano with Clive Davis, and I was with, we were singing, Oh Man.
This was Barry Manilow,
with
right?
Barry
Yeah.
Manilow.
Yes, I remember
I'm
that.
literally like, this is a moment that nobody else can ever, you can't get that moment. You can't auction that moment. It's just that this is my job. Or sitting down with George Clooney talking about his
Yeah.
newest movie, and he's talking about my expose on Entertainment Tonight. I'm like, we're cool.
That crazy fat suit.
Yeah, he's like, I remember last time I saw you, and it was we did this fat suit expose, and he's like, you look a little different, and I'm like, he remembered me? George Clooney remembered me?
Now, you guys kind of also met on a video shoot, right?
Well,
that was when you.
yeah. So I always
She
wanted
was
to
the
use.
featured girl.
She was. I always wanted to use the line, "Hey, you wanna be in my music video?" And I saved it for Vanessa. So I was doing this song, and I thought, how am I gonna get my video played on TRL? Put a TRL VJ in the video.
He used me.
So.
And you know what else? Not only did he use me, do you know that I never
capitalized on the situation.
I never got paid for that video.
You never got
No.
paid?
Somebody asked me how much did
Kevin,
you make for that video?
I've been paying every day since the
That's
video.
what I was going to say.
Still paying to this day. Most expensive video I've ever done in my life.
What do you remember about that, though? Was there was there chemistry? We were like,
That's when
Yeah.
we were both. I remember it was March of 2006,
Mm-hmm.
and we were both single, and that was after the birthday. We realized we had the same birthday,
yep.
and that I flew all the way
Mm-hmm.
to Los Angeles. I literally had like 18 hours free from MTV, and I flew out there, and then I walked in my trailer, and the first person I saw was his face, and I don't know if there's a such thing as love at first sight, because I'd known him and he'd known me, and then at that point we had had a couple months of courting on our phone, and when I saw him, it was like, this is different.
Wow, hold on. We have a
Felt it.
soundbite from
Oh,
back
gosh.
then. Hold on.
I know what this one is.
I was dubbed in the in the treatment as the featured girl, but then someone said here I'm the Nick main squeeze in the video. I like that better. Not the video vixen, the Nick main squeeze. At least for 24 hours.
Oh, God. Pouring it on thick.
I was thick.
Pouring it on
See, ladies,
thick.
if you know what you want, go for it.
Nick, you looked a little smitten, too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a reason that I asked her to be in the video. I mean, I joke about wanting to get played on TRL, but I mean, in reality, I was looking at that as an opportunity to try and wedge my way in there a little bit. So it was, you could definitely feel it. There was electricity, and that's really where it all kind of changed, right?
The
Changed
video.
from friendship to
The video
to
was the
maybe
moment.
something more.
That was the moment.
Because when you came back to New York, you're like, I have the video. Do you want to see the edit? And then he's like, oh, we have another cut. And then it was, I'm gonna come promo. And we just we kept finding reasons to
come together.
Oh, I'm doing a Rolling Stone photo shoot for my album. Do you want to come see?
Pulling out all the stops, Kevin.
Oh,
Whatever it
you
took.
went big.
Whatever it
I
took.
loved it.
Whatever it took.
Over the next 10 days, ladies, you're gonna live on this side, and the men will live on the other side. You're gonna speak to a stream of potential love interests.
Okay, so now, all these years later, you guys have a new show. It's called Love is Blind. People listen to me, people. You're going to lose your mind over this show. It's going to be on Netflix. It's from the same people who gave us Married at First Sight, but it's a different kind of social experiment.
Yes.
Explain.
Yeah, so 30 people, 15 men, 15 women, separated. So basically, they cannot see one another. And the premise of it is that these are all people who are kind of fed up with the current dating scene, where everything's based on your profile pic and all this kind of superficiality. So these people came together because they wanted a different way to meet someone they could make a connection with. And so literally, you're put on the other side of a wall from someone you cannot see, but you have to get to know them and learn about them purely by talking, by conversation, by asking questions.
It's like the old school way of dating. It's what it used to be. We took away their cell phones, we took away their computers, we took away television, radio, and family and friends. Because y'all know how influential family and friends can be as well.
They'll mess you up.
So it was just them living with themselves and finding a connection with somebody and then elaborating on that connection. And if that led to engagement, then we had ourselves a show. If it didn't, we were all going to be like, what's going to happen? So
you only see that person that you've created this connection with once you've proposed to them.
And they've accepted.
And they've accepted. And only then.
Then you walk around, you look at them.
No, then we do a whole. It's a show. So there's a production. There's like two sides of a room. It's like half of a football field, and they're running across to each other, seeing each other for the first time, knowing the voice, but smelling them for the first time, touching them for the first time.
What surprised you the most about people's reactions when they finally got to see their loved one?
Well, I mean, some were like, oh my God, it's exactly what I envisioned in my mind. Others, I think, were like, okay. Not exactly what I thought it would be.
But they didn't say that at first. It took a couple.
But I think what surprised us most about the show in general, and I think this is true for the contestants too, we were a little skeptical of will these connections, actually happen.
Yeah.
And not only did they happen so quickly, like people just organically creating this incredible connection to the point where you were able to envision your life, the rest of your life, with someone that you've never seen.
None of it was like, we did not make anybody propose to the point that we wouldn't have a show if no one proposed.
Right,
So Nick
right.
said, I'm seeing grown men broken down to tears on their knees because they didn't show a lot of, we were kind of like a sounding board. I was for the women, he was for the men. And they're like, this is the woman of my dreams. He's like, dude, it's been 3 days. He's like, I know, this is crazy. I'm closer to this woman than I have been to the woman I was with for 4 years. Because when you have nothing to distract you,
You laser
you laser focus. And we were actually truly surprised at the outcome, but it
Trust me
turned
when I
out-
tell you, any scenario you can imagine would have happened on a show like this happened on this show. Now, once you choose the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, you'll propose.
Just like that.
If they accept, you will finally get to see your fiance for the very first time.
All this happens in 8 weeks. You guys knew each other for 4 years before you proposed.
Not that I'm counting, but it was 5 years.
Oh, it's 5 years.
Oh yeah, how many days, how many months, how many minutes?
I literally said, I remember when I was dating and I was talking to my girlfriends, because at that point we'd been together for a few years. I'm like, girls, you don't want to pressure the guy. Just be cool, be collected. I'm never going to give an ultimatum. I'm never going to be that girl. I'm about to turn 30. We've been together for 5 years. We're living together. We have a dog. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I love you, but if we're not, if this isn't, and
Little did she know when she gave me that talk, I'd already made, bought the ring. I'd already made my plans, so we were on the same.
And I felt like crap. But I will say, for like 6 months leading up to my 30th, anytime he's like, you want to go for a walk, or do you want to sit outside and watch the sunset? You want to go have a glass of wine? Whatever it was.
You're like
you have to say yes, because God forbid that was the moment that he was
That
going to
was the moment
propose,
that
and
he
he's like,
finally
you didn't want to go on a hike with me.
Well, I would have circled back and done it another time.
Would
It
you
wasn't-
have, or would you
Yeah,
have said,
no, of
she's
course.
not the girl?
I would have circled back. You'll move in together, see your family and friends, and in just 4 weeks, you'll be at your wedding.
I just got goosebumps.